Hey TikTok. So this is going to be a little video to show when exactly the day begins and when the day ends, and in particular the Sabbath day, since it's so important. So I'm going to read from you from Genesis 1, and I made this graph here just to kind of show just a kind of visual aid to help explain things, because the wording can be a little confusing. So here we go. This is Genesis 1, verse 3. And Elohim said, "Let light come to be," and light came to be. And Elohim saw the light, that it was good, and Elohim separated the light from the darkness. And Elohim called the light day, and the darkness he called night. And there came to be evening, and there came to be morning, one day. So as you can see, by definition, right here, we got light is day and darkness is night. Day, the biblical definitions of day is a 12-hour period, just the time that the sun is in the sky. Then you have a 24-hour period, and then, of course, the day has 1,000 years. So in this aspect, Yahweh started creating. He created the heavens and the earth, as you can see up here. And then after he finished creating, then there was evening, and then there was morning, the first day. So the time period that he was creating was during the daytime, then came evening, then came morning. And then so now we can see that the day actually begins at dawn and then ends the following morning, which is when the next day begins. So here in verse 6, and Elohim said, "Let an expanse come to be in the midst of the waters, and let it separate the waters from the waters." And Elohim made the expanse and separated the waters which were under the expanse from the waters which were above the expanse, and it came to be so. And Elohim called the expanse heavens, and there came to be evening, and then there came to be morning, a second day. So as you can see, he does all his creating here, created the firmament, then there came evening, and then came morning, the second day. And so it's becomes a little bit easier to see and understand that the day does not begin in the evening time. The day actually begins at dawn in the morning. And so as we get to the Sabbath day, the seventh day of the week, I know traditionally, even I was brought up and for years did the Sabbath from Friday evening to Saturday evening, when after reading the scriptures for myself, I realized that the Sabbath actually begins Saturday morning at sunrise and then ends Sunday morning at sunrise. And I can even give you more scripture to show this. So here I want to read Exodus chapter 16, and it's going to be verses 22 to 27. So here it goes. And it came to be on the sixth day that they gathered twice as much bread, 2 omers for each one. And all the rulers of the congregation came and told Moshe. And he said to them, "This is what Yahweh has said. Tomorrow is a rest, a Sabbath, set apart to Yahweh. That which you bake, bake, and that which you cook, cook, and lay up for yourselves all that is left over to keep until morning." Verse 24, and they laid it up until morning, as Moshe commanded, and did not stink, and no worm was in it. And Moshe said, "Eat it today, for today is a Sabbath to Yahweh. Today do not find it in the field. Gather it 6 days, but on the seventh day, which is the Sabbath, there is none." And it came to be that some of the people went out on the seventh day, to gather, but they found none. So as you see, on the Sabbath day, on the sixth day, if you read through Exodus 16, you'll see that in the morning, there was manna that was laid out for everyone. And then in the evening, there was quail. So in the morning, they would bake the manna, and then in the evening, they would cook the quail. And on the sixth day, since they had twice as much, they would save the leftovers for the following day, which was the Sabbath. And in the morning, they held it up until the morning, and they saw that on the seventh day, there was no manna and there was no quail for them to eat. So you can see that the Sabbath actually began in the morning on the seventh day. And here's another interesting verse in Leviticus chapter 6, verses 19 and 20. And Yahweh spoke to Moshe, saying, "This is the offering of Aaron and his sons, which they bring near to Yahweh. beginning on the day when he is anointed, 1/10 of an ephah of fine flour as a daily grain offering, half of it in the morning and half of it in the evening. Now, as you can see, it says that they're going to be doing this in the beginning of the day, half of it in the morning, half of it in the evening. So again, just another example that day begins at morning. So now I'm going to show you a verse in the New Testament. This is Matthew chapter 28, verse 1. But late in the Sabbath, as it was dawning into day 1 of the week, Miriam from Magdala and the other Miriam came to see the tomb. So now, as you can see, it was late in the Sabbath, so it was late at night, and as it was dawning, which means the sun was beginning to rise, into the first day. So Matthew 28 verse 1 shows that the Sabbath ends at the dawn of day 1, which then begins the next day, which is the first day of the week. And here we have in Acts chapter 4, verses 1 through 3. And as they were speaking to the people, the priests and the captain of the set-apart place and the Sadducees came upon them, being annoyed because they taught the people and announced the resurrection from the dead in Yeshua. And they arrested them and put them in jail until the next day, for it was already evening. So, as you can see, it was already evening, and then they kept them until the next day, the following day, which would have been from morning time, which when the next day would have started. And the reason why this is important is because by doing the Sabbath from Friday evening to Saturday evening, you run the risk of breaking the Sabbath Saturday evening. So if you believe that the Sabbath ends at Saturday evening, and then you go and start doing work or you start buying things, you're actually breaking the Sabbath without realizing it. So it's important to understand that the true Sabbath is on the 7th day of the week, and it begins at sunrise and then it ends at sunrise the following day. So I hope this helps, and I'll try to leave a list of all the scripture that I found so far that will help support that the day begins at dawn. And here you can see the full graph. The print's a little small, but maybe you can zoom in and you can read everything a little bit more clearer.